Okay, good morning all of you. We are discussing about the dipole moment applications. See, in this first one we are discussing a very important thing, ABC molecule. In ABC molecule, A is the central atom, B and C are surrounding atoms. Okay, what is the situation we will see? In ABC, A is the central atom, B is one atom, C is another atom. The angle between AB bond and AC bond is theta. In this bond, dipole moment towards B denoted by mu1. AC also has same? No. Why? It is a different bond, has bond momentum is mu2. Okay. Individually the bonds has some momentum like mu1, mu2 and theta. Then I want a resultant dipole moment. A resultant dipole moment formula according to vector concept is nothing but mu1 square plus mu2 square plus 2 mu1 mu2 cos theta. Okay, now first case I am telling here, see carefully, if angle theta is 0, angle theta 0 means both the bonds come on the same line, then what happening, find out cos 0. Cos 0 means how much? 1. Substitute in the previous. A resultant dipole moment is equals to square root of mu1 square plus mu2 square plus 2 mu1 mu2 cos theta means 1. Cos 0 1. So then it is similar to one of the formula, a square plus b square plus 2ab. What we can write? A plus b whole square. Write down resultant dipole moment is equals to a means mu1 plus mu2 whole square under square root. Square root and square cancel. Finally we are getting mu1 plus mu2 we are getting. So means when angle between the two bonds theta is equals to 0 means low value, then resultant dipole moment will be coming high. Did you got my point? Yes. Now I will tell you second case. If suppose bond angle is 180 degrees will be there, means the bonds are well separated, the molecule is like linear in shape, then what we can write, cos 180 will be there. Cos 180 can be written as cos 90 plus 90 we will write. Cos 90 plus 90 means minus sin 90. Minus means it is comes into second coordinate. So minus sin 90 means is nothing but minus 1. Can we substitute in this resultant dipole moment formula? Resultant dipole moment is equals to mu1 square plus mu2 square plus 2 mu1 mu2 cos 180 minus 1. So anyway, resultant dipole moment is equals to a square plus b square minus means minus 2ab. Otherwise write down one more step, mu1 square plus mu2 square minus 2 mu1 mu2. It is similar to a square plus b square minus 2ab. Can be written as a minus b whole square. So mu1 minus mu2 whole square under square root. Cancel together. Finally we are getting mu1 minus mu2. So if suppose angle theta is 180, angle is high, so resultant dipole moment should be coming subtracted value. Additional value high, subtracted value will be low. So from these two things can we tell something? Angle is low, resultant dipole moment is high. Angle is high, resultant dipole moment is low. So finally I want to write one thing here. Remember very carefully, dipole moment is inversely proportional to angle between the bonds. More angle, less dipole moment, less angle, more dipole moment. Are you getting or no? Yes. Now I will explain to you some other important things is nothing but second application, a percentage of ionic character. Percentage of ionic character in a chemical bond. For example, you take AB bond. Here what happening, unequal sharing, then we are getting here partially positive and partially negative. Actually covalent bond, but some charges is coming, that's calling as ionic character. If you want to find out its ionic character percentage of ionic character is equals to absorbed dipole moment. So what you got, dipole moment, that will be absorbed dipole moment by dipole moment when completely ionized into 100. What is the meaning of completely ionized? It is becoming A plus and B minus, then some gap is existing between them, then dipole moment is coming, that is calling as dipole moment when completely ionized. So what we are getting, that one by completely ionized dipole moment, you are getting percentage of ionic character. It is important for the competitive point of view. We have one more formula in terms of electronegativity. So percentage of ionic character is equals to 16 into XA minus XB plus 3.5 into XA minus XB whole square. So what is the meaning of XA? Is nothing but electronegativity of A atom, and XB means is nothing but electronegativity of B atom. This is the formula for percentage of ionic character in terms of dipole moment. It is also same percentage of ionic character only, but in terms of electronegative values of combining elements. I will tell you one more thing. It is nothing but AB2 molecule is there. So in this molecule, A is the central atom surrounded by B atoms. So angle between them will be theta. In this AB bond we have some dipole moment mu. In this bond also dipole moment will be there, that is also mu. Why? Because both are same bonds. Okay, in this case I want resultant dipole moment is equals to, direct formula will be there, 2 into dipole moment of that bond into cos theta by 2. So what is the meaning of this one? Bond momentum. So whenever AB2 molecule is there, if the two bonds are same, the making angle is theta, then resultant dipole moment is equals to 2 into bond momentum into cos theta by 2. And we have to discuss some other things. So to distinguish cis and trans isomers, actually these all compounds are having same physical and chemical properties, but how do you distinguish the cis isomer and trans isomer based on dipole moment? For example, I am taking C double bond C, here Cl, here also Cl, here H, here H. Is it called as a cis or trans? Cis, because with respect to double bond, the same particles are on same side, that's what it is calling as a cis isomer. And I am taking trans isomer C double bond C, here Cl and here also Cl, here H and here H. With respect to double bond, identical groups are opposite side, that's why we are calling that one as trans isomer. Sir, how can you distinguish based on dipole moment? Just once you see, in CCl bond dipole momentum towards chlorine, in this also dipole momentum towards chlorine, because chlorine electronegativity 3, carbon electronegativity 2.5. Okay, hydrogen electronegativity 2.1, here 2.5, that's why the dipole momentum towards carbon. See, almost all are in the same direction, that's why almost addition is happening. Net dipole moment or resultant dipole moment will be in upward direction. It should be high value in case of cis. Now if you can take trans, in CCl the bond momentum towards chlorine, in the CCl bond momentum towards chlorine, here bond momentum towards carbon, bond momentum towards carbon. For example, this is mu1, this is also mu1, but are in opposite direction. This is CH bond mu2, this is also mu2. Check it. CCl bond in opposite direction. CH bond is also opposite direction. Yes or no? That's why what happening? Mutually cancel the dipole moment, then the resultant dipole moment is becoming 0. Out of cis and trans, always cis isomer resultant dipole moment will be high, means more polar, and this is non-polar because mutual cancellation of the bond momentum. In case of trans, dipole moment will be 0. Are you getting or no? I want to tell you one more thing. In case of isomers, for example, I am taking orthodichloro. I am taking, listen carefully, chlorine. What is the name of this one? Orthodichlorobenzene. And I will take metadichlorobenzene, and another one is paradichlorobenzene. So this is the metadichlorobenzene, and we can take paradichlorobenzene. Yes, all are having same molecular formula and same physical and chemical properties, but how can you distinguish whether it is ortho, meta, para? Okay, only position will be changing. Based on dipole moment concept, we can distinguish them. Just once you see here, so the total angle is how much? 360. Dividing into how many parts? 6 parts, means each bond angle is 60. I will extend this bond like this, and I will extend this bond also like this. Then making angle is how much here? 60 degrees. Here angle is 60. Now you can extend this bond like this, dipole moment towards chlorine, here also towards chlorine. Then bond angle is coming how much? 120 degrees. Yes, bond angle is 120 degrees. Now you can take CCl bond upper direction, extend, down direction, extend. Making angle how much? 180 degrees. Here bond angle is 180 degrees. I told already in the first application, the dipole moment is inversely proportional to bond angle. As the bond angle is increasing, a mutual cancellation is happening. That's why what happening? Angle is less. The dipole moment of resultant molecule is high. And here little bit more, the resultant dipole moment will be low. And angle is 180 degrees, resultant dipole moment is 0. That's why what happening, as the angle is increasing, dipole moment is decreasing. That's why what we can tell, ortho product is more than meta product than para product. These are the applications of the dipole moment. All of you understood? Yes. Now we will see the last concept. Listen carefully. Bond parameters is the final concept for you. See, the concept is very important for competitive point of view, is the bond parameters. What is the meaning of bond parameters? To explain the stability of the bond, to explain the stability of the chemical bond, this is the concept. Some parameters, I mean some characteristics will be there. According to that one, we can check stability of the chemical bonds. Under this first one is bond length. Bond length. A bond length is shortcutly we are writing as BL. Already you know what is the meaning of bond length. For example, you have two atoms. They are connected together through a chemical bond, whether single bond or double bond or triple bond or not a matter. So this A atom having a nucleus, B atom also having a nucleus. The internucleus distance between the two bonded atoms is calling as bond length. So bond length means what? When two atoms are held together by a chemical bond, then internuclear distance between the two bonded atoms is calling as a bond length. The bond length we are expressing in angstrom units, picometers and nanometers. So for example, I will take AB bond and one more bond I am taking XY bond, where bond length will be more. In case of AB, bond length is 10. In case of XY, bond length is 5. So you know very well, short is always strong. Yes, if you take this much stick, if you want to break it, difficult. But if you take long stick, if you want to break it, very easy. So here bond length is high. Bond length is high, bond is weak. Bond is weak means is nothing but unstable. And now comes to here, between x and y the distance is less, short. Bond length is less. Bond length is less means bonds are strong. Bonds are strong means the molecule or the chemical bond is stable. So can we relate the bond length and stability? Bond length is high, unstable. Bond length is less, stable. That's why bond length is inversely proportional to stability of the chemical bond or stability of the molecule. Keep in mind this point. The internuclear distance between the two bonded atoms in a molecule is calling as a bond length. So the bond length is high, bonds are unstable or weak, and bond length is less, the bonds are strong and stable. That's why relation is inversely proportional. I will tell you some special characters of this one. So bond length of a particular bond in different molecules is same. Did you got anybody this information? So bond length of a particular bond in different molecules is same. Okay, now I am taking H2O, I am taking H2O2, I am taking CH3OH. In all these what happening, OH and H and HOOH and CH3OH. In all these different molecules we have commonly which bond is there? OH bond will be there. Its bond length will be same is telling. Bond length of a particular bond in different molecule will be remains same. So its value will be coming XXX like this. Are you getting? Next, I want to tell you one more thing. Bond length is directly proportional to size of the atoms. Bond length is directly proportional to size of the atoms. What is the meaning of this one? Yes, you take small sized particles or held together, gap is less. If you take big sized particles, if you take like this, gap is more. Yes or no? Bond length is here high. So that's why we are telling bond length is directly proportional to size of the particle. Can I give you one thing? F2, Cl2, Br2 and I2. Anybody? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. From top to bottom size increasing, automatically bond length is going on increasing. I will give you one more thing. HF, HCl, HBr, HI. Same. In all these species H is common, that's why don't compare anything with respect to hydrogen. Fluorine is a small size, iodine is a bigger in size. That's why what happening? Size of the bonded atom is increasing. Bond length is also going on increasing. I will tell you some other special things. Listen carefully related to bond length. Bond length is inversely proportional to bond order. Bond order means what among? Number of bonds between the atoms. Okay, as the number of bonds increasing, force of attraction increasing, gap between the bonded atom is decreasing. That only we are telling. Just you see, C single bond is there, C double bond is there, C triple bond is there. Okay, here bond order 1, here bond order 2, here bond order 3. More bonds, more attraction, more close, gap less. That's why CC single bond is more than double bond than triple bond. If you want, I will write 1.54 angstrom units. CC double bond should be less, 1.34 angstrom unit. This is 1.2 angstrom units. Can I give you one more thing? The bond length is also inversely proportional to percentage of s character in hybrid orbitals. Sir, how it is? So as the s character in hybrid orbital is increasing, bond length is decreasing. Why? As the s percentage in hybrid orbital is increasing means which shape is increasing? Spherical shape increasing. Spherical shape increasing means towards nucleus attraction will be going on increasing. Automatically what happening? While involving in the chemical bonding, the shared pair electron is strongly attracted by a nucleus. Automatically a gap between the atoms is decreasing when s character is increasing. I will tell you one example. If you can take alkanes. Alkane means what, amma? Carbon. In that between all carbon atoms we have single bonds. CH bond. You can take the upper one is also alkenes. Yes or no? C double bond H. And another one is alkynes. C triple bond and here H. Now this alkane carbon is involving in the sp3 hybridization. S character percentage is 25. Here the double bond carbon is involving in the sp2 hybridization. S character percentage is 33.3%. It is involving in the triple bond sp hybridization. S character percentage is 50%. What we are telling, as the s character percentage is increasing, the bond length of CH will be going on decreasing. So this is more than this one and this one. Can I give the values? In alkanes, less s character, more bond length, nearly coming 110 picometers. C double bond, this bond length will be coming 109 picometers is coming. Yes, in alkynes CH bond length is coming 106 picometers is coming. Are you understanding or no? Yes. And later we have to discuss one more thing. Bond length is also affected by which one? Lone pairs. Presence of lone pairs. I think you know already in the Vesper theory. What is the concept? Just you take AB atoms is there. Only bond pair is there, no lone pair. Now I am taking AB atoms with one lone pair. And now same AB atoms I am taking with two lone pairs. Did you observe? Yes. Once you see, in case of first molecule only bond pair is there, no lone pair. That's why repulsion will be less. The atoms are very close together, bond length will be less. Now here extra which particle is coming? Lone pair is coming. Between lone pair and bond pair, what happening? A repulsion will be operating. This is the lone pair, this is the bond pair. Because of repulsion between lone pair and bond pair, what happening? The electrons are pushing away from one another. Automatically B atom is going on away from A atom. Bond length is increasing. Here, yes, is a bond pair is there and lone pairs will be there. You know in Vesper theory, between lone pair, repulsions are very high. That's why the two bonded atoms are moving away from one another. Automatically gap between the two bonded atoms is increasing. That's calling as bond length is going on increasing. Than this one, this is more, is highest is this one. All of you understood or no? Yes. Now I will tell you second bond parameter is nothing but bond enthalpy. Bond enthalpy is also calling as a bond energy. See, what is the meaning of bond enthalpy or bond energy? Yes. So now I will tell energy required. Listen the definition carefully. Energy required to break a particular bond, a particular 1 mole of a bond, 1 mole of, write down here, energy required to break 1 mole of a particular bond, bond between two atoms in molecule is called bond energy or bond energy. Energy required to break 1 mole of a particular bond between two atoms in a molecule is calling as a bond energy. Just what is the meaning of this one? If you take for example A B molecule is there, this is the 1 mole molecule, between them how many bonds is there? Single bond is there. To break this bond required energy is nothing but x kilojoules per mole, per 1 mole. Now for example X and Y atoms is there, between the two atoms we have double bond, but we are taking 1 mole of XY chemical. To break 1 mole of a particular bond between two atoms is calling as bond energy, Y kilojoules per mole energy. Not like that. If you take P and Q atoms, they are held together by triple bond. I am taking 1 mole of PQ. Between 2 PQ we have triple bond. To break it required energy is different, that is nothing but x kilojoules per mole energy, Z kilojoules per mole energy. What is the meaning of bond energy or bond enthalpy? Energy required to break 1 mole of a particular bond between two atoms in a molecule. Between two atoms, whether single bond or double bond or triple bond, to break them for 1 mole, how much energy is required? This is calling as a bond energy or bond enthalpy. Always this is process is energy required. Energy required means we will call it as a which process? Endothermic process. Endothermic process. Always bond energy or bond enthalpy values should be positive values, because for all endothermic energy values are positive, for exothermic energy values are negative. And I want to tell you what is the relation between bond energy and stability. To break the bond required energy is high, then the bond is stable, molecule is stable. That's why bond energy is directly proportional to which concept? Stability. This is important. But what is the relation between bond length and stability? Inversely proportional. Required energy to break the bond is more than stability is more. Just I will tell you one important, some factors I will tell. Bond energy is directly proportional to bond order. Yes, more bonds, more energy. How it is this one? Yes, you can take for example, if you take CC single bond is there, alkenes C double bond C is there, alkynes C triple bond C is there. To break this CC bond required energy will be x kilojoules energy. Okay, here how much bond order? 2. To break double bond required energy will be y kilojoules energy. To break bond order 3 means 3 bond required energy will be z. Now all are same, no? To break one bond required energy will be very less. Just you take one stick, you break it very easily. You take 2 sticks, you required more energy. You take 3 sticks to break it, required energy will be still high. That's why, so x is less than y less than z. That's why we are telling, as the bond order is going on increasing, bond energy is also going on increasing. These are nothing but kilojoules per mole, kilojoules per mole and kilojoules per mole. According to this one only we are telling nitrogen gas is highly stable. Nitrogen is highly stable. Arey sir, why like this? Nitrogen is a more stable. I told already, in Lay's and Kurkure packets, they are not filling the packets with oxygen gas. They are filling with only nitrogen gas for long time safety purpose, means without spoiling the taste and smell of the food items. Sir, why nitrogen is highly stable? Yes, you see, between nitrogen and nitrogen we have how many bonds? Triple bond is there. Is it easy to break it? No. To break triple bond required energy will be very high. So bond energy will be high. If bond energy is high, stability is also high. Stability of nitrogen gas will be also high. Are you getting or no? Yes, bond order is directly proportional to stability. According to that concept, nitrogen is the more stable gas. And we have to discuss some other factors regarding bond energy. the bond order we are explaining. Another thing is nothing but bond energy is directly proportional to which character? S character we can tell, or bond energy is directly proportional to or inversely proportional to bond length. Bond length